Mindset discusses the differences between people with a fixed mindset versus those with a growth mindset. Our mindset is what determines the way we deal with tough situations and setbacks, as well as our willingness to deal with and improve upon ourselves. This book demonstrates how we can achieve our goals by changing our mindset. What will you learn about in this book summary? We'll talk about the two primary types of mindsets and how they drive and/or influence our behavior. And we'll talk about how to cultivate a growth mindset to become more successful in life, both personally as well as professionally. Some crucial quotes from mindset before we dive into the big ideas. This growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Although people may differ in every which way in their initial talents and aptitudes, interests, and temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Believing that your qualities are carved in stone, the fixed mindset creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. When you enter a mindset, you enter a new world. In one world, the world of fixed traits, success is about proving you're smart or talented, validating yourself. In the other, the world of changing qualities, it's about stretching yourself to learn something new, developing yourself. A tweetable summary on mindset: to achieve growth in life, whether personal or professional, you must constantly cultivate growth in your mind. Big idea number 1. Your mindset determines your belief set. Your mindset shapes whether you believe you can learn and change and grow or not. From the shape of your skull to the size of your foot, your body's physical characteristics are more or less entirely predetermined from the start. Of course, you can get plastic surgery or break a bone, but we human beings generally have very little control over our body's external features. But what about intellectual and physical abilities, like playing basketball or drawing or solving math problems? Are they hereditary or are they learned? Today, most scientists agree that if you want to become a concert violinist, for instance, you not only need to have a musical disposition, but must also dedicate years and years of your life to practice. Still, there are as many answers to this question as there are people. For our mindset plays a crucial role in how we see ourselves as well as how we see others. Simply put, our mindset shapes our beliefs in accomplishing something, our self-confidence. These two extremes form the basis for the concept of a fixed versus a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe they're born naturally gifted at doing some things but utterly incapable of doing others. Whereas people with a growth mindset believe they can become virtuosos of anything if they try hard enough. So, the people in the latter group continue growing throughout their lives, acquiring new skills without reservation and actively engaging in their relationships. For them, life in all its facets is in a constant state of change and growth and development. By contrast, people with a fixed mindset often let their black and white way of thinking obstruct their development. If they fail at something, they bury their heads in the sand or blame others. They hope for everlasting love in their relationships rather than working on the relationships themselves. Our mindset is what shapes whether we believe we can learn and change and grow, or the opposite. Big idea number 2. The fixed mindset means that your ability is static. Quote, John Wooden, the legendary basketball coach, says, You aren't a failure until you start to blame. What he means is that you can still be in the process of learning from your mistakes until you deny them. People with a fixed mindset believe that talent is king. In their view, a person's abilities are set in stone from the get go. A person is, by nature, either intelligent and talented or stupid and incompetent, and they'll stay that way. Big companies like Enron and McKinsey, whose HR departments invest a lot of money into scouting out so called naturals at universities, embody this way of thinking. The grads they hire are expected to instantly boost company performance with their outstanding abilities and talents. But since the grads are so talented, they receive little training and are not expected to progress in their jobs or to grow into new roles. As a result, their superiors evaluate them constantly and say things like, are these grads really as smart as we thought? Or do their errors reveal that they lack the talent to get the job done? People with a fixed mindset tend to think that employees who are not perfect from the get-go, from day one, never ever will be. So it's best to just let them go, they say. Moreover, people with a fixed mindset believe they can only do things they show a natural aptitude for, that practice certainly doesn't make perfect. Since they are quick to judge themselves and other people as being good or bad at something, they assume others are judging them as well in the same way. Thus, they feel the need to show how talented and smart they are at every opportunity they can possibly show it. They believe their entire personality is at stake all the time. One slip up could be enough to brand them as incompetent fools for life. They constantly seek approval and validations from others to protect their egos and confirm that they really are as great as they think they are. An individual's abilities are set in stone when it comes from the perception of the fixed mindset. Now let's talk about the growth mindset. Big idea number 3. The growth mindset means that abilities can be developed. When kids with a growth mindset are given a difficult math problem to solve at school, they jump to the challenge and want to do more problems, just like it at home. They recognize that the more problems they solve, the more they learn. The sky's the limit when it comes to life's possibilities for kids with a growth mindset. It's hard to define their precise degree of intelligence today, let alone predict what it may be tomorrow. Sure, their grades reflect their status at one moment in time, but these kids believe they can learn more with hard work, dedication, and the occasional failure that they can improve their skills. People with a growth mindset relish any and every opportunity to learn tricks from the creme de la creme in a field. They reconsider and discard strategies used in the past and are always thinking about how they can eradicate their faults and weaknesses. In their relationships, they encourage their partners to continue learning and working on themselves. When they play sports, they play knowing they are serving the team rather than just themselves. When they run a business, they show their employees respect and are grateful for their work, as well as ask for their honest opinions on things, however inconvenient the truth might be. People with a growth mindset welcome problems and see them as challenges, not insurmountable obstacles. They willingly put their energy into bettering themselves and the world around them. Growth and development are the primary perceptions and possibilities in a growth mindset. Big idea number 4. The fixed mindset seeks approval. The growth mindset seeks development. People with a fixed mindset seek approval. Those with a growth mindset seek development. Lee Iacocca became the CEO of Chrysler Motors when it was on the brink of collapse. Thanks to his swift decision-making and good feel for employees, he was just able to bring the company back to life. But after that, his behavior changed radically. He started resting on his laurels, flaunting his superiority, and putting more energy into his own image than into the company's welfare. His sole objective became to seek approval from others. Iacocca clearly exhibits a fixed mindset. Just as he classifies everything as either good or bad, he feels others scrutinize him, labeling him as a winner or a loser. And because he'd like to be a winner, he tries to appear as intelligent and talented as possible instead of finding ways to improve the company. Contrast this with Lou Gerstner, who took over IBM just as it was about to go bankrupt. Plagued by a fixed mindset work environment, the company was wasting energy on internal disagreements instead of focusing on service and teamwork. Everyone was trying to do what was best for themselves. Thus, the company wasn't meeting customer needs. To change that, Gerstner broke down the company's hierarchies and emphasized teamwork, rewarding employees who supported their coworkers. He also opened up communication pathways throughout the company, putting himself on the same level as his employees. This enabled him to establish personal contact with as many employees as possible in a short period of time. Gerstner's growth mindset enabled him to create a new work environment based on teamwork and development. The focus moved away from individual success towards shared development. Based on this concept, he was able to bring about lasting success at IBM. People with a fixed mindset essentially seek approval. Those with a growth mindset seek development. Big idea number 5. Fixed mindsetters allow their failures to define them. Growth mindsetters see failures as challenges and opportunities for development. Quote, "The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset." Failure has dramatic repercussions for people with a fixed mindset. Take the golfer Sergio Garcia. When he was having a bad streak, he fired one caddy after another in fits of rage and anger. Once, he even blamed his shoes, whereupon he took them off and threw them at an innocent bystander out of frustration. People with a fixed mindset do not believe they can learn from their mistakes. They see a single failure as evidence that they will be losers forever. One defeat negates and devalues all past successes. In order to preserve whatever little self-confidence they have, people with a fixed mindset make excuses, they cheat or lose interest and look the other way. They don't seek help or analyze their weaknesses, and they certainly don't try to get better by practicing. They see themselves as a finished product rather than a continual process. Even Basketball Hall of Famer Michael Jordan had periods in his career when he did not dunk every ball he touched. He fluffed a good 26 potentially winning shots. However, rather than sticking his head in the stand, he practiced the shots he missed over and over and over again. By the end of his career, he had the best shooting techniques and strategies of anybody else on the court. Michael Jordan obviously had a growth mindset. Rather than finding fault in his teammates or the court's floor or blaming other external circumstances, he looked for ways to improve what was under his own control. He looked for ways to improve his own skills and his game. He analyzed his mistakes. He practiced even harder than before, and he took advice from other people. He firmly believed that he could transform his defeats into victories as long as he tried hard enough. The fixed mindset sees failures as disasters. The growth mindset sees them as opportunities. Big idea number 6. The fixed mindset avoids difficulties. The growth mindset embraces them. There are a lot of things in life we can only achieve with effort. Yet, when people with a fixed mindset are faced with a difficult situation, all they can see are risks. Because the more time and energy they invest in something, the fewer excuses they have if they fail. Plus, they believe in the enormous power of natural talent. Gifted people shouldn't need to try so hard. This way of thinking makes it impossible for people with a fixed mindset to better themselves without questioning their own talent, and themselves for that matter. And so, they avoid difficult situations. They don't want to potentially make a fool of themselves. The violinist Nadja Salerno-Sonnenberg exhibited this kind of behavior. At age 10, she was already critically acclaimed. By 18, she held her violin incorrectly and her fingers were stiff. Every time she tried to learn something new, she became so afraid of failing that she would stop bringing her violin to lessons and avoid playing altogether. If the actor Christopher Reeve had a mindset like that, he would have remained completely paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life, just as the doctors predicted after his accident. However, he had a growth mindset. Rather than passively accepting his fate, he took control of his situation. So, he underwent a strenuous training program, and then he made the impossible possible. Contrary to all diagnosis, he moved his hands. Then he moved his legs. Then finally, he actually moved his entire upper body. Challenges give people with a growth mindset the opportunity to pursue purpose-filled actions. The more dejected they are, the more energy they put into fighting against and rewriting their fate. Like Christopher Reeve, they strive to make the impossible possible. Big idea number 7. Your earliest role models can have a strong influence on your mindset. What factors determine whether a person has a growth or fixed mindset? What factors determine whether a person realizes his potential or spends his life treading water? Mindset development begins at birth. Babies come into the world with a growth mindset. They want to learn and grow and absorb as much as possible each day. The adults in a child's environment, usually his or her parents, play a huge role in determining whether the child maintains this desire to grow or eventually adopts a fixed mindset. Simply put, parents set a mindset example for their kids. Parents with a growth mindset encourage their children and urge them to continue learning, whereas those with a fixed mindset are always judging their kids, telling them what's right or what's wrong, what's good or what's bad. Babies aged between 1 and 3 already behave accordingly. Growth mindset babies will try to help another baby who's crying. Fixed mindset babies, by contrast, are annoyed by it. Teachers are also very important role models and influence children's mindsets. There are many teachers who believe that a student's performance is actually unchangeable, that good students will continue to do well and weaker students will continue to get C's or D's or F's. Weaker students will develop a fixed mindset as a result of this type of teacher's mindset and influence on the students. But good teachers, on the other hand, those who firmly believe their students are capable of learning anything, handle the situation in a totally different way. They show their kids, their students, different ways of solving math problems or understanding Shakespeare or whatever it is that they're teaching. Their weaker students embrace a growth mindset and start getting better grades. They're no longer doomed to thinking of themselves as dumb by nature. Our mindset isn't entirely predetermined, and that's the key idea here. It can change as early as childhood when we adopt the mindsets of our role models, the people that we look up to. Big idea number 8. Anyone can adopt a growth mindset to achieve massive success in all areas of life. Nobody has to be a victim of their surroundings when developing their own mindset. The brain can be trained like any other muscle. If we want a growth mindset, we can teach ourselves to think that way one step at a time. Working towards a growth mindset presents a great opportunity to reach out to others for support, to talk about our faults and mistakes, and to make viable, concrete plans for achieving our goals. It's important to understand that a fixed mindset isn't easy to kick either. It has likely become an emotional crutch over the years, and it protects us from failure, creates recognition in the eyes of our parents and partners, and boosts our self confidence. It comforts us every now and then, too. So, getting rid of it can be tough. It can be extremely uncomfortable. And in truth, it's not necessary to give up a fixed mindset altogether. As long as we adopt the growth perspective in certain situations, it's usually enough. Even if a person believes that he's a lost cause when it comes to sports, he could, in other words, still be making leaps and bounds at work every day. Adopting a growth mindset in any field or any area of life enables us to make the impossible possible and to continue improving our talents and abilities. In this regard, the growth mindset is the key to self-fulfillment. Closing notes. Anyone can develop a growth mindset to achieve higher levels of success. While you develop your own mindset, keep in mind that it's important to not allow yourself to fall victim to your surroundings. It's important to be proactive and focus on what's within your own sphere of control rather than worrying about what's not. Your brain is like a muscle. You want to have a growth mindset? No problem. Just train your brain to grow in the same way that you train your muscles to grow, by increasing the weights daily, a little bit every day. Train your brain to think in alignment with a growth-oriented mindset by challenging yourself to think along those lines just a little bit more every day. Always remember to take small steps daily as you cultivate your growth mindset. For example, when you stumble over your words during a presentation, don't think, "Oh gosh, I'm such an idiot." Think, "You know what? I'll practice and ensure that it goes smoother the next time around, the next time I present." Become aware of your fixed mindset reactions so that you can catch them and respond from the perspective of a growth mindset. Also, seek out supportive people to help you cultivate your growth mindset. Set plans, set goals that are in alignment with the growth mindset as well. The fixed mindset isn't a simple thing to let go of. So keep in mind and don't get down on yourself if it takes longer than you thought it would. With enough practice and patience, you'll wake up one day realizing that the majority of your mindset is now far more growth-oriented rather than fixed. Also, keep in mind that it's not absolutely necessary to give up a fixed mindset 100%. Embracing a growth mindset most of the time is usually more than enough to dramatically enhance the quality of our lives. For example, you might believe you suck at sports. That's a fixed mindset. But you might also believe that you have a really bright future at work with tons of room for advancement. The final note here is that embracing a growth mindset, again with any area of your life, gives us the opportunity to unlock our greatest potential by opening up our mental faculties to take on new challenges, to consistently develop our skills and talents, and to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.